podcast's art is like finger painting, but with butter Frank's lambasting. Let's paint. Let's paint. No pain. Let's paint. Pat's got takes like ketchup on steak. Tommy's lost in a Josh Allen deep fake. Student body rights, yells in all caps. Not a reliable source, balance and free agent acts. Let's paint. No pain. Let's paint. No pain. We spill blue cheese on the playbook page. Break tables like it's the podcast stage. Sponsored by Wings, Bets, and Lakeside Fries. This pod's more bills than a Josh Allen high five. Let's paint. No pain. Let's paint. No pain. Let's paint. The Bills canvas.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Bills Canvas. I am your host, Pat Bruckness. You can find me on Twitter at Pat_Bruckness, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, to my right, probably your left, Tommy G. How you doing tonight? And where can everybody find you?
I'm good, and everybody can find me on X at Giambra T and everywhere else on Tommy Giambra.
Hey, Tommy, a lot of news tonight. We are 1 week closer to the start of the regular season. Yep. Before we get started, we did just break something before we went live. And I know you're excited to see this. This is something that we have been working on behind the scenes for a good minute now. So at this time here, I'm going to pull up my screen. And let's show you this thing that us at Do Champions have been working on.
Oh, yeah. Let's show it out.
I am Iron Man.
Is it loading? Oh, here we go. Yes. And okay, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but that is officially the Do Champions new logo, and that was our reveal video to, obviously, our new logo. Julie, yes, it is good to be seen. How are you doing tonight? And thank you as always.
Good to be seen, Julie.
Greatly appreciate it. So, Tommy, with that being said, what do you think about the new logo?
Oh man, it looks amazing. Like I love how you have like the streak, like the buffalo running through it. So I mean, it looks really real, and I just love the way it looks, and it's refreshing to the network.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a great new look, and make sure you follow Do Champions on all social medias at Do Champions. Stay up to date on all things Bills and just little stuff like that. It means a lot to if you guys were to follow and obviously subscribe to YouTube. But Tommy, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk some football here. We do have a game to go over that happened on Sunday night. Obviously, it was a bad one. Probably the worst preseason game under Sean McDermott. But before we get into that, we did have some news out of practice today, which Tre'Davious White, he was unfortunately carted off the field after he was helped up by Mitchell Trubisky. And he was hobbly. He started walking towards the locker room, and that's when they decided to cart him off the field. Obviously, nobody knows the extent of the injury just yet. Obviously, from the first signs of it, people are saying that he was hitting the pads on the walls. That's not a good sign. But there was a sign that said it kind of looked at the same thing as the Tyrell Shavers injury, where they carted him off due to precaution to be more cautious. So, Tommy, Obviously, we are already dealing with injuries in the cornerback room with Maxwell Harrison with the LCL strain, and now Tre'Davious White. We don't want hopefully Tre'Davious White's not out for an extended amount of time. Hopefully, good week 1, because obviously he doesn't need the reps right now. Let's be honest, he doesn't. We cannot afford to have Dane Jackson go out there week 1, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But what are your thoughts on what do you think about the whole Tre'Davious White thing? You think it's serious?
I mean, I am a little worried just because, like you said, he was banging the wall and stuff. But I mean, from the sound of it, I mean, eye doctor had said maybe it could be a twisted ankle or something like that. And then some other reports saying it was like it could have been his like lower leg area. But I mean, it is concerning. I mean, hopefully we'll get some info out maybe tomorrow about what the extent of the injury is. But whenever you have your cornerback too, you have to worry. You have to have some worrisome there, just because with the depth. With Maxwell Harrison possibly going on the PUP list for the first 4 weeks, we don't know the extent there yet until maybe we'll find out next week when the rosters are set. So, it's very worrisome, and I'm hoping for the best for Trey.
Yeah, so am I. And you talk about a guy like Julie says right here. Trey has been through so much already with injuries. Poor guy. Yeah. I agree. He cannot seem to catch a break here. Yeah. And hopefully it's nothing serious. This is a guy who obviously has been through some of the worst injuries you can have as a cornerback or just as a professional athlete. An ACL tear and a Achilles tear. I will say, no, I don't know if it was contact injury or non-contact injury. I don't think anything came out about that. Now, I know with his Achilles tear, he stayed down. He did not get up.
Right.
Now, he did get up and he was walking off the field. He was hobbling, but he got off the field. And obviously, anybody who has had a sprained ankle before knows a sprained ankle feels like he broke something.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what it was. Maybe he got twisted up with the receiver. But, yeah, just all we can do at this time is just hope for the best for Tre'Davious White. Just hope it's nothing serious.
100%.
We do need him week 1, especially with Maxwell Harrison being out.
Right. I was going to say, Pat, like if he is out, like who would you trust more, Dane Jackson or Dorian Strong at cornerback 2 if that was the decision? I'm going with Dorian Strong. I say let the rookie go for it. I feel more confident maybe with him out there than Dane Jackson. Yeah, no,
especially the way Dane Jackson has looked in training camp and some of the early preseason, the first 2 weeks of the preseason, he has not looked the best. Yeah. At the same time, you don't want to put really a rookie out there week 1. That's a very important game against Baltimore.
Yeah,
I'm at the option you restructure Dawson Knox and Deion Dawkins, and you go sign a Asante Samuel Jr., which I have been told before the Bills had interest in, but they did stay away from him due to the stinger syndrome and his shoulder. The medicals, the Bills were kind of iffy about. Same thing with a few other players I'm not going to mention because that's not, topic right now. But you go sign Asante Samuel Jr., you go sign Stephon Gilmore. Okay. You bring in one of those 2 guys.
Yeah.
I know Julie says Dorian Strong. But if I, was forced to choose between Dane Jackson and Dorian Strong, I'm probably going to go with, oh boy. I mean, Dane Jackson does have experience in this system, was a starting player starting corner in Carolina. I'm probably going to have to go with Dorian Strong. No, I'm going to have to go with Dane Jackson, though.
Okay.
Dane Jackson, just for, he's familiar with the system already, and he has that playing experience already. But the second he does bad, though, I'm taking him off the field. I'm putting in Dorian Strong.
Yeah.
But let's just, let's fingers crossed, that Tre'Davious White is fine.
Fingers crossed, yes. Hopefully so.
Well, no, Tommy, I don't know if you saw this out of practice as well. But Christian Benford also left practice early.
Yeah, I did see him leaving. I don't know if it had something to do with like what was his injury. I know they talked to him after practice and he said he was okay.
He said he was all straight. He said he just needed some rest.
Maybe it was heat related or something like that. I don't know.
It could have been. I don't know the heat in Buffalo, but we have been told on the network by a few former players that the Bills and Sean McDermott do practice hard. That's probably what it was. Maybe it's just more of a precautionary thing where Sean McDermott's like, hey, anybody needs a break? Sit down.
Right.
We don't need injuries. And Sean McDermott has preached that already throughout training camp already. So that's obviously some good news with Christian Benford, CB1, obviously number CB47, but number 1 in our hearts and number 1 corner in the NFL, right, Tommy?
That's correct. Yep.
Now, let's talk about this Bills-Bears game. There's a lot of things that we can go over. We can point out a lot of bad, but there was some good in that game. But overall, I was at that game from the beginning. When I found out Josh and the starters were not playing, I'm like, okay, we can still win. But then you see, because I felt like we had better depth than Chicago, but Chicago just came out from the get-go, man.
Yeah.
And their starting offense tore us apart.
They acted like it was a real game to me. Like, they acted like they wanted it. You know what I'm saying?
They did. And I know throughout a few reports from a lot of different people, Sal Capaccio and much others, that the Bills played very well in that scrimmage, and the Bills kind of shipped that sail. It's kind of like, okay, this was your preseason, Josh Allen. This was your preseason game. Now, I feel like Ben Johnson and the Bears took that scrimmage personally because, as you saw in preseason week 1, the Bears they out-physicaled Miami, and there's reports that came out and said that, but they said that with Buffalo, it was a night and day difference between. There was times where the Bears had to match the Bills' physicality, and the Bears looked like they were out to prove a point. They were running stunts and everything in a preseason game, and I know Ben Johnson said that they dusted off an old game plan for that game. Now, that's what makes me think that they took that game personally. Because why else are you game planning for a preseason game where it doesn't matter, but obviously you do have people trying to make your roster, so it does matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I felt like the Bears were out to kind of prove something by winning that game. I think
so too. Yeah. It just seemed like from the get go, like they were. I mean, I think the only good thing about it was that when we kicked off in the first kickoff, I mean, when they bobbled the ball and then we stopped them at the 5-yard line. But then after that, it just seemed like they hit strides, pass after pass, after they were gaining yards after yards, and it just we couldn't stop them, and that's just when the nightmare kind of began.
No, you're right, and from the opening kickoff, I'm like, oh, okay, the Bears are gonna bear, and we're gonna we're gonna take care of business here. Obviously, try to win. I was in attendance. It's kind of throughout the fourth quarter, I'm starting to check my phone and everything like that. But I was still, tuned into the games. I want to see how certain guys look, like Christian Wilkerson. I know Buffalo Joe was out there until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about that first 2 drives, Tommy, with the Bears starting offense on the field against our backups, because there was some good things that I saw from our backups that I did like. First of all, let's start with saying Caleb Williams is his stat line. He went 6 for 10 with 107 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, Brandon Condrington was on their number 1 receiver in DJ Moore, and DJ Moore finished with 2 catches for 16 yards, obviously averaged 8 yards a carry. And then outside of that, Luther Burden had a good game, 3 catches, 49 yards. That's their rookie receiver that they drafted in the second round out of Missouri. But, man, their tight ends kind of tore us apart, Tommy, over the middle of the field. There was a few plays where Buffalo Joe, Caleb Williams completed a nice pass over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
I believe it was the first play of the game to the rookie Colson Loveland. And then on that touchdown, and then, obviously they scored on that opening drive, Damar Hamlin kind of hesitated. He kind of went for him, stopped, and then went for him again. Now, I love Damar Hamlin. I think he's a good player, but I think we could do so much better in the safety room than Damar Hamlin.
I think so too. Yeah,
so,
I agree.
One of the guys you're excited to watch in this upcoming preseason game, we'll talk about later, is Derek Forrest. That's a guy who's faster and who's very athletic, and overall just a good football player. But Damar Hamlin does know the system.
Yep.
But at the same time, Damar Hamlin has not looked good this preseason at all. Going back to that touchdown with Smith Marset for the Giants, which was Jackson Dart's first touchdown of the year. Damar Hamlin's jogging and just watching Dane Jackson get cooked. He got burnt. I mean, you're the safety. How are you behind? Why are you not reading this? What are you looking at? Sometimes Damar Hamlin takes bad angles. And all this stuff is starting to show now in the preseason. I'm glad it's showing now. Hopefully he figures it out this week and then leading into the regular season. Obviously, he's not a starter. Because we know Sean McDermott said they are looking for that starter alongside T-Rap.
Yep.
And the Bills are really forcing that role onto Cole Bishop. They want him to be the starter. Brandon Beane has said it all off season. So then obviously on that second drive against the Bears, it did start to look better. We did get a stop. We did put some pressure on Caleb Williams, make him roll out of the pocket, incomplete pass on third down there. And I felt like Cole Bishop and guys like Joe Andreessen were starting to find their footing in that. Now, how do you feel about those first 2 drives? What was the good, the bad, the ugly for you?
I just felt like the safeties were out of position in those 2 drives, and which gave up, Cole Bishop. I mean, he was in more, and he was trying to get the stop the slant, and he just misread the play, and then Hamlin should have had that tackle. I don't know what he was doing in space there. Like, he missed another open tackle, and that's a no-no with Sean McDermott's defense and stuff like that. You got to feet into tackles, and he just wasn't there, and that's what started it. And then then the second drive, like I said, it was a little better, but we just need. It seems like we need more work in the back end of our defense.
No, I do agree with you. Now, one thing I will say before we get to Julie's comment here is, I will say for the back seven, it is hard when your front four is not getting pressure.
That is
to
true.
Make your job harder because you got to cover. And for DBs, you're not playing, you're reacting.
Right.
Which, it's easy for a wide receiver to run around because they know what they're running. A DB doesn't know you're playing reactionary football.
Yeah.
So it does make it harder on the DBs, but guys like Damar Hamlin and even Cole Bishop to an extent obviously doesn't have as much playing time, but he did play in a big game for us last year. He was arguably our best player on defense in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Just has to be better all around. And obviously you expect a little bit more out of Buffalo Joe. There's a few times where I felt like he was in the wrong spot.
Same
but
here.
It's going to happen with
here.
inexperience.
Yep.
So let's get to Julie's comment here. Our guys really didn't act like they wanted it. I agree, and I know we'll talk about Hard Knocks later. But Sean McDermott even said he was talking to somebody in the headphones. He goes, "If these guys don't want to get it done, put in somebody who will."
Right.
That's probably the most benching I've seen from Sean McDermott in a preseason game ever.
Yeah.
Julie said our guys look slow. They look slow. They looked like they just didn't want to be there. Now, if you're a guy trying to make the roster and you look like that, it's different for a guy like Josh Allen to look like that.
Right.
But Josh Allen would even still put out a better effort than what we saw out there.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, you're trying to make this team. You're trying to make a Super Bowl contending team. You're not given anything. It's very hard to make this roster because most of our roster is already set.
Right.
Go out there and show some heart.
Yep. And I feel like they didn't really give a lot of effort, and that could hurt them for those guys to find another job on a team that's looking, to stay in the NFL.
Yeah, like Sean McDermott said, in the Hard Knocks, which I know we'll talk about here just in a few minutes, what we did last year doesn't matter. They are going to watch film on you, what you do, your tendencies, and everything like that. That's why it matters. Now, if you're going out there, and I'm just going to say it how it is, half-assing it out there,
yep.
Other teams on film are going to see that.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, we don't want this guy. So you're really hurting yourself.
Yep.
And that's all I can really say about it. It's just a really piss-poor performance all around. And I agree with Julie. Our defense could not get a stop on third down.
Yeah.
I agree. I get that it's the preseason, but at the same time, the Bills are playing very vanilla. They don't care who wins.
Right.
But they're just trying to get the game healthy. And the Bills are not going to show any of their defensive, third down plays. But man, you gotta put together a stop. And we just couldn't. And I keep going back to that third and goal, I believe it was, where the Bears ran a play action, and somebody caught the ball. They cooked Dane Jackson. They beat it was a cover 2 beater, or it was a zone beater, and that's how everybody knows Ben Johnson was game planning for the game. Because everybody who knows, keeps attention to the X and O's of the football, knows that the Bills play a lot of zone, and that's exactly what Ben Johnson did. He ran a zone beating play for a touchdown.
Yep.
Again, Damar Hamlin on the play, nowhere to be found. But overall, Tommy, that's my thoughts on the game. It was just a piss poor performance.
Yeah.
And the only bright side is the team got out of there healthy.
Right. And I guess you could say another bright spot in the game was Frank Gore Jr. He was trying to, keep the offense moving. He was getting in the holes. He just had that, one unlucky fumble. I think he said in Hard Knocks, like he put it in the wrong shoulder. He should have had it in his other hand. But other than that, I mean, it was, like you said, piss poor for performance, on both sides. Mike White he did not look good. Same thing with Trubisky. They weren't hitting their strides. I mean, I think Shavers had a couple good catches. But other than that, like I said, Frank Gore Jr. probably was the shine of the game, if I were to say.
Man, I agree. Julie, hope that performance makes other teams underestimate us. I'm sure, for Tampa Bay, if they decide to watch film on the game, it will for them. Because, you can see that the Bills really don't care about who wins. They're just trying to get out of it healthy. Now, if that was our starting team out there looking like that, I would be a little mad.
Oh, 100%, yeah. 100%.
But how much underestimating, I don't know. But again, teams do try to look for an advantage. They could say that Buffalo doesn't care. They're satisfied with where they were last year. I guess we'll wait and see. And I know Sean McDermott called out some of the Bills players in Hard Knocks, which I know I keep referencing to, but we're going to talk about it here shortly. Saying he wants to see that drive from them, they go get it. He hasn't seen it yet from certain players.
Mm-mm.
But I'm sure that's because you're in the preseason and everything like that. You're ramping up.
Yep.
But you better figure it out quick, and I'm sure they will. This team knows where they want to be come February.
100%. Yeah.
And they have a very good coaching staff.
Yeah.
Now, to wrap up this, whatever if you want to call this a game or if you just want to call this the Chicago Bears, Let's just go over some of the Bills' top performers. As you already stated, Frank Gore Jr., 8 carries, 51 yards, 6.4 yards per carry. And I do agree with you. He was the main spotlight for the Bills in this game. He did have that fumble, which he did say was on him. That's a learning experience. He did fumble last week. You do want to see the fumbles come down a little bit. I know last year in the preseason he was really good. Yep. Now I do think that the Bills' 3 running backs are James Cook, Ray Davis, and Ty Johnson. Obviously, Ty Johnson being the second string, Ray Davis being the third string. You're seeing a lot of Ray Davis in the preseason. You're not seeing a lot of Ty Johnson since that first drive against the Giants.
Yeah, I think they're holding him back, which is a good thing.
Right. No, yeah, it definitely is. Now, to finish off the Bills' quarterbacks, you got Mitch Trubisky went 7 for 13, 55 yards. Shane Buechele went 1 for 4, 11 yards. Mike White went 4 for 11, 54 yards. And Mike White played a whole half. I mean, you want to talk about bad quarterback, quarterback play.
Bad.
That's what that was.
That was real bad. Yeah.
I mean, they had over 300 yards on us, and which actually we'll pull that up here in a second. Tyrell Chambers went 2 for 22 receptions, 29 yards. Could have had a nice touchdown down the field, but Mitch Trubisky just missed them. Christian Wilkerson had 1 catch for 25 yards again. He did have that one big play again. Obviously, you're hoping to see a little bit more from him. Someone who's trying to make the roster. Elijah Moore, 1 catch, 5 yards. Wasn't really used a lot. There was a few times where Elijah Moore was actually open, but the quarterbacks could not get him the ball whatsoever. And Josh Palmer had 1 catch for 2 yards, which we know about Josh Palmer. He's making the team. He's wide receiver.
100%. Yeah, they trust him, I think, out of the most besides, like, because Khalil Shakir, I think Josh Palmer's right up there.
Right.
You know?
And then from the defensive side, Tommy, you're looking at a guy like Michael Hoyt who had a sack.
That was nice to see. Like seeing his aggressiveness to break through that rusher. I think that was great. You know, I think he's going to be ready once his suspension's up. I think that's going to be another piece that we put together and make some havoc on the D line.
I agree, and I'm surprised Larry Ogunjobi did not play. Maybe he's nursing an injury.
Yeah.
But if he's not, you think you want to give him the reps now for that way he comes off. You know, obviously he's out the first 6 weeks. He's still going to come back. You know, he's going to need that ramp up period. But at the same time, why not play him now? Maybe because he's a veteran. That's the only thing I can think of.
Only thing I can think of too is maybe he had a really good day at the scrimmage and they didn't want to use him in a way like where it could expose something. But I don't know what else he could have been.
Right, you want to keep your hand, your cards close to your chest.
Yeah.
Then outside of that, not really much else defensively. Deion Walker, which I even text you, I believe, during the game. I'm like, Deion Walker is a
beast.
He is a big boy.
Yeah.
Now, this is the second week where we see him sniffing things out in the backfield.
Yep.
And I don't care what anybody says. That Tyson Bagent fumble was a fumble. He came like this with his hand, right? He tried throwing it, but he decided to hold on to it. Then finally, once he finished his motion, after he threw it, the ball slipped out of his hand. That was a fumble, and that should have been a touchdown for Dwayne Carter.
Yeah, I feel bad for Carter. That that was a moment for him, and they took it away from him. So I feel like it was a fumble, and then they misread that call.
Yeah, they did. But at the same time, I mean, Bears fans are celebrating the fourth quarter like they just won the goddamn Super Bowl.
Right.
And then besides those player stats, Tommy, just really, I'm not going to go much more into the team stats and everything. Once the regular season starts, we'll start doing that. But a lot of pre-snap penalties, a lot of drive-killing penalties, especially on the offensive line. False start.
Who was that? Was that Vandermark that it was 2 straight or 3 straight? He had false starts.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he even said he needs to work better at that, or like in the locker room when they interviewed him, he said that I just got to be better there. If not, then it's gonna hurt my chances of making this team or getting playing time with this team.
Yeah, and I mean, I do agree, Julie. I want to see that aggression. I do want to see that aggression too.
Me too, Julie.
Which it's weird because the Bills were just preached so well about it in the scrimmage, but the backups it didn't seem to translate to the backups for whatever reason.
Yeah,
it seems like they didn't want to be there, which really pisses me off. Dwayne Carter deserves that touchdown. I agree.
100%. I agree.
Who doesn't love a big man touchdown?
Right.
They had to clean up those penalties. I agree, and I believe we saw a few of those last year as well. I know we saw it against the Giants.
Yeah,
and that's with the starting line. There was a few. You definitely got to clean up those penalties. Those are drive killers.
Yep.
But besides that, Tommy, my biggest takeaway is they came out of the game healthy. That's all you can really ask for.
That's true. Yep. That's all. Yeah, that's really all you can ask for. As long as you're staying healthy and you're getting your reps, and that's good for the team. So yeah, just so glad they're healthy. Well, besides the practice day, but hopefully everything's okay with Trey. But yeah, so just stay healthy during those games, and then you you got it made to the next day. So
yeah, because at the end of the day, we're not a team that's trying to prove ourselves in August. We're trying to prove ourselves in January, February.
Yep.
Right. So if we go 0-3 in the preseason, who gives a damn?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a stat too that said the last time the Bills got beat this bad by Chicago in the preseason was in 1990, and they ended up going to their first Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
So I'll take a preseason ass whooping for a Super Bowl.
For a Super Bowl, 100%. Yes. Let's get it.
With that being said, I mean, I think we spent enough time on that game. Unless there's anything else you want to touch on about it.
Nah, just let's move on and
Let's move on and keep this one in the bag, right?
Keep the bag, yep.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about Hard Knocks here. There's a lot of good moments from Hard Knocks. I felt like this was the best week of Hard Knocks.
I think so
far. I know there's 2 or 3 more episodes.
Yeah, I think it's two more after last night or after Tuesday night. I think it's 2 more left.
You're right. And Julie says she doesn't care about the preseason, but at least score once.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, Caden Davis should have made that kick. It wasn't that far of a kick. I mean, it was missed it. Thank goodness Tyler Bass is back this week, and we'll talk about that here once we start previewing the Bills Bucs game.
Yep.
Now let's talk about Hard Knocks, Tommy. Let's start off with what was your overall thoughts on Hard Knocks so far?
Overall, I thought it was probably the best episode of the series so far. Like it was mostly focused on football and they were going over like the team drills and defense and offense and stuff like that. And then like one of my favorite moments was like when Connor McGovern had the team over for the pizza party, and they were getting together and having a good time, and that's good team bonding right there when having a teammate come over to the house when you have a bunch of guys coming over for a house pizza party. So like just that moment right there, it just shows like the teams like they're getting together and getting ready for football and bonding together.
Yeah, and that's something that this Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have been building for quite some time, and that is culture. And you're seeing a transition from the training camp now. We knew how close this team was. I don't think any of us knew how close this team actually was. I mean, you got Christian Benford, Tre'Davious White going out for Sundays and then handing them out to people. Then you got, the Connor McGovern pizza party, which we have known about for 2 years now. It's nice to see that this team really does, they really do mean it when they say they spend, a lot of time together on and off the field. And that makes you want to play more for your brothers behind you. You're not playing for the last name on your jersey. You're playing for the front of it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have a good group of guys, you don't want to let them down. And
right.
That's one thing I love about this team is, the brotherhood in that locker room, because it's not like that everywhere.
Right. And you can see it too with Ed Oliver and Ty Johnson when they had the horseback riding segments too. So like it shows like getting together, even like your defensive guy working with a running back. That's just awesome to see.
It is. And do you know what that horse's name was by any chance?
I can't remember. What was it, Pat? Do you remember?
I was dying. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it's Panty Snatcher.
Oh,
who names a horse Panty Snatcher? Definitely.
That's something Ed would do, though. He's a country guy that loves his horses. So he said he grew up doing it. So I mean, that's understandable.
Well, hopefully, he starts snatching Mahomes' soul in the playoffs. That would be nice.
And Trey sweaty socks from Julie. That was another. That was interesting to see too. Like how much sweat was in those socks. Like it just shows like how much he's putting in the work.
Right, and you see Maxwell Harrison's face when he gave him a look like what the bleep.
Yeah, I did see that too, Pat.
So then on top of that, one of my favorite moment from I'll give you my thoughts on the Hard Knocks overall. Is I agree with you. You're seeing the first winning team on Hard Knocks, and you're seeing the continuity. I know Connor McGovern was just on Eric Wood's podcast. Shout out to Centered on Buffalo.
Shout out
to the network and everything like that. And Connor McGovern kind of said something that kind of pointed out that kind of was I'm kind of the Bills can say what goes out and what doesn't. Which I know me and Matt were talking about this on Saturday on the Third Emmanuel podcast here on the Do Champions Media Network.
Right.
That doesn't usually happen. The Bills can say what goes out, and a lot of people think it's boring, but the Bills want it that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of on the field stuff for that reason. That's because the Bills have a say in that.
Yeah.
So I like that, and that's one of my biggest worries was, I don't want some things to be put out, which it has not to this point.
Yeah.
Which is really good. But you're seeing a lot of, brotherhood. So you're seeing a lot of behind the scenes, like what they do off the field. And I think that's what a lot of people should see. And that's how you should want to build your team. If you're a front office, if you're a head coach or a GM, you want continuity, you want that brotherhood. And Julie's brought it up here. Matt Milano spoke. It's weird. I didn't know that guy had a voice box. Did you?
I didn't either, but I mean that's awesome to see. And then you saw James Cook smile in the in that segment they had with the what was the guy that, they were doing that exercise with?
Yep.
Yeah,
you
you
see
see James
him
Cook
with a
smile, so that was
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now let's just talk about our favorite moment from this week's Hard Knocks moment. I know you kind of already went into it, so I'll give you mine. Mine was clips from the scrimmage because we really didn't get to see much of anything from this Bills-Bears joint practice.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills really did outplay them, and you can see, guys like Deion Dawkins trying to mentor the Bears right end. Austin Booker saying, we're all employees of the NFL. You see them being friendly, but like Deion told Conor McGovern, keep 17 up. They can be friendly, but when they're on the field, they mean business. That light switch is on. It's up. It's turned on. And Julie says right here.
Yep, it's making our players more relatable and makes the audience love them. That's well said, Julie.
It is, and I don't think the Bills care if anybody else doesn't like it, as long as Bills fans like it.
Yep.
And they're not putting out anything. I mean, I love Hard Knocks so far.
I do too. It's been great.
Just seeing that the clip from the joint practice really does tell me that the Bills and guys like Josh Allen does not need to play in this preseason, and that was his preseason game. Yep. He looked really good. The offensive line looked good, and physicality was up. Everything looked good for them in that preseason joint practice. I called it preseason game, but it looked very good. And I'm okay with Josh Allen not playing in the preseason.
Yeah, I'm definitely cool with that too. I just, like I said, you want to keep him healthy as it can be. You just don't want nothing crazy to happen where he gets hit and then he blows out an ankle or blows out a knee or messes up his shoulder or something like that. You want him as healthy as can be going into week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens.
Right, and I'm super excited to see because the Bears did revamp their offensive line too with guys like Joe Thuney, their first round pick a few years ago, and Darnell Wright. They have Steven Jackson from the Rams. They are working through a left tackle issue. But besides that, I mean, the Bills' defensive line was feasting on the Bears. And Joey Bosa had 2 sacks. Greg Rousseau had 2 sacks. Landon Jackson had what would have been a sack.
Yep.
Same thing with Ed Oliver. They were getting to Caleb Williams, making his life a living hell. Yep. If it was a real game, I would have loved to see the outcome of those.
Right.
But it wasn't. And I think that's really what I wanted to see from Hard Knocks this week. I wanted to try to get a glimpse from behind the scenes of that joint practice, and we got it.
Yeah,
and to me, that tells me that this team is ready and how good they look.
Yep.
I mean, let's be real, Tommy. This team has been the core group of guys have been together 2-3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to gain continuity with each other. Outside of Cole Bishop, they're good.
Yeah,
So besides that, and then obviously Elijah Moore, Josh Palmer, they got to get continuity with Josh. But as you see from the first episode of Hard Knocks, Josh Allen was working with Josh Palmer, saying, "Hey, run it like this." So besides that was my overall takeaway from Hard Knocks this week. So do you want to go a little bit more into why the pizza party was your favorite moment?
The reason why I feel like that was one of my favorite moments because we got to see like guys talk like Tyler Grable, like his accent was pretty interesting. Like, I mean, I didn't realize he had that deep of an accent, and I think that's pretty cool. Like to get to know like more about like where he's coming from and how he made the team and stuff like that. And then just this, like you said, the team bonding and, I mean, that pizza, like that Conor McGovern was making, it looked really good, didn't it, Pat? I mean, it looked like
it did.
I would love to go over there and try because he did an amazing job making that pizza. And just like I said, just seeing the guys bond and talking, and I just felt like that was needed, in times like, Hard Knocks, watching the guys like get to bond and get together like that.
Yeah, and Conor McGovern did say on the Center on Buffalo podcast, which is Eric Wood's podcast, that they were probably recording for a good 5 to 6 hours, but they only got 5 to 6 minutes worth of recording.
I think those 5 or 6 minutes, it was well worth it to me. Like I see it, so we all got to see how they bond together. So it's worth it to me.
I will say, I'm a little disappointed in them though. As a true Chicagoan, besides my favorite teams, they cooked the Detroit deep dish pizza. They cooked a normal pizza, but where's the Chicago style deep dish? I mean, that's the best type of pizza.
Right. Maybe they were told to stay away from that from playing the game. Maybe.
Yeah. Stay away from the deep dish pizza, Josh. We don't need you putting on 10 pounds from crushing a whole deep dish pizza.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I do love the, like we already talked about the brotherhood and
Mhm.
everything like that. It's really
Yep.
nice to see and how close the defensive guys are with the offensive line.
Yep.
It's just really nice to see. So I know this is your favorite segment of the week, Tommy's takes. And
All right.
what is it this week?
Okay, Tommy's takes this week. All right. You guys might be a little shocked about this one, but I'm sticking to it, and I think it's possible that this could happen. So I'm going to go with it. So on Tommy's takes this week, Curtis Samuel, we've all been talking about him. Like, can he stay healthy? Can he get on the field? And he's been hampered with these injuries. And on Tommy's takes this week, I have Curtis Samuel either getting cut or traded before the season starts, which helps a guy like Shavers or a guy like Gabe Davis make this roster.
I'm glad you talked about Gabe Davis because that's my audible of the week. Spoiler alert. But that's hot, Tommy. That's hot.
And
because
I think you could save like is it close to $7 million if they trade him if the other team eats some of the contract. It's something like that. It's either between $4 and $7 million, I think. So you can add some cap space to the team.
And Julie said no, but no Butterfinger Gabe. Well, I want Gabe Davis, but back to your point about Curtis Samuel. I think they're gonna keep him, and I know him and Elijah Moore are very similar receivers, but I think it all depends again on Gabe Davis as well. I'm sure the Bills might try to shop Curtis Samuel, but I don't think they're gonna outright release him just because of his his familiarity with Joe Brady's system, going back to Carolina and now here in Buffalo. He's in his second year, and he was probably our top performing wide receiver in the playoffs last year with a touchdown against the Broncos in the wild card round, touchdown in the divisional round against the Ravens, touchdown in the AFC Conference, the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. Sean McDermott said today during practice the last 2 days that he has been back, he has looked good and he has looked fast. So I do wonder though, I thought maybe the 49ers would be interested, but they did just trade Sky Moore. The Chiefs just did trade Sky Moore.
Yeah, they did, to
the Chiefs. Well, to the 49ers. But maybe I know a lot of people talk about Minnesota now as, friend of the network and guy that me and you both really like, and we had the pleasure of interviewing. Harrison Phillips was traded from Minnesota to the Jets. Maybe Minnesota's trying to get a receiver to.
I think they are trying. I was hearing rumors Thielen might be an option for them. But a guy like Curtis Samuel, I think he could fit their offense. You look at a team too, like the Raiders. They might be interested in adding a vet receiver to their team with Geno Smith.
Yeah, whichever way, I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, if it is a Curtis Samuel, if it is a Gabe Davis, I think you're not getting much of a drop off between the two. Obviously, two different type of receivers. Mm-hmm. And I think if Elijah Moore really does play like how we expect Elijah Moore to play, if he plays to that potential, with having Josh Allen, because every receiver that's played with Josh Allen has had their best year outside of a few like Emmanuel Sanders, but Emmanuel Sanders still had a good year in Buffalo,
right?
But I like Gabe Davis, and it's kind of segues into Audible of the Week.
Yep.
Gabe Davis, he's a guy who was drafted in 2020, played in 16 games, and then 2021 played in 16 games, 22 played in 15, and his final year in Buffalo, he played in 17 games. Obviously, that was the year where we fired Ken Dorsey mid-season. It looked like the sky was falling, but it wasn't because this team went on a winning streak and showed the resiliency, played for Sean McDermott, everything like that. But looking at Gabe Davis' numbers very quick, he is about a 50% catch probability guy, as in, starting from his rookie year. 62 targets, 35 receptions. The following year, 63 targets, 35 receptions, 93 targets the following year with 48 receptions. Then his final year in Buffalo, 81 targets with 45 receptions.
Right.
And the yards are 599, 549, 836, which people thought it doesn't be his breakout year. And then 746 in his following year in Buffalo. Touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. So you're getting a consistent player. He's going to get more than 500 yards, but he's not going to break that 900 mark. Right. Obviously, he was injured last year, only playing in 10 games with Jacksonville, but he was their wide receiver like 3 or 4. So there's not really much opportunity for him there. But at the same time, I'll take a Gabe Davis as a number 4 or 5 wide receiver, and especially if it's against Kansas City, because it seems like big game Gabe does come out against Kansas City. And not only did he do it in the divisional round in the 13-second game where he put up 201 yards, 8 catches with 4 touchdowns. He also did it the following year. I know then with the weird, we played them in Buffalo. I know he was injured and didn't play in that one, unfortunately. I would love to see what he would have done there. But even in the regular season, he had at least a touchdown against Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Then did it on Thursday Night Football after the year after the 13-second season where we played the Rams. He had that nice touchdown. Had that nice touchdown over Mika Fitzpatrick where he ripped the ball of his hand. But I do agree with Julie, though. Gabe Davis, his problem is inconsistency. And we did see towards the end of Gabe Davis's tenure with the Bills, he was not on the same page with Josh. Maybe that's because of the offensive coordinator. Maybe it's because Ken Dorsey, ran a lot of option routes, and Josh and Gabe were just not seeing things, on the same page.
Right.
But at the same time now, you get a year out of the system, you come back, you know the system somewhat. I'm sure it has changed in some ways. And Gabe Davis is a guy where this Bills team is very good at running the ball. And that proved it last year, and which is weird because that's one of the Bills' biggest knocks is they don't know how to run the ball. It relies on Josh Allen. Not anymore. We have 3 very good running backs with a good offensive line. And so you're telling me, Tommy, Josh Palmer is a very good pass blocker, right?
100%. Right? Yeah, he is.
You put James Cook out there, and then you have Josh Palmer on the left. You come out in 12 personnel, and you run the ball, right? And if anybody that does not know how to read offensive personnel packages, how you do that is you take the first digit is how many running backs are on the field. The second digit is how many tight ends are on the field.
Yep.
So it would look, obviously, you have your offensive line. Then you'd have Josh Palmer. You would have Gabe Davis, who's also one of the league's best run blockers. Then you have Knox Kincaid on blocking, or if you want to take Kincaid out, put in Jackson Halls, because that's what he's good at. That's why we drafted him in. Then you just run the rock. Good luck trying to stop us, especially if we're bringing a 6-man out.
Oh, like Alec Anderson. He's
exactly.
A pounder,
He is. He's a psycho. As Deion Dawkins said, he's a complete psycho.
Yep.
So I want Gabe Davis for that reason, stuff that he can do like that. And, he is a deep threat. But if he can figure out his hands a little bit, maybe he can finally be what we thought he was going to be, because he's still relatively young, Tommy.
Right.
Now, what are your thoughts on Gabe Davis to wrap up the Gabe Davis discussion? And just very quickly, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finish your point.
But yeah, okay. So he did have his visit per the NFL transaction wire, and Sean McDermott did confirm it yesterday. And he did have a meeting with the Bills medical team to go over the medical procedures and everything like that.
Right.
So obviously there is interest on both sides. Does this preseason game mean something for that? We will find out. But your opinion on Gabe Davis?
My opinion, I feel like he could help the offense out, as a whole. I mean, they consider him a deep threat. Like you said, like he had that great game against the Chiefs in the playoffs back in 22 or 23. Yes. Okay. 22. Yeah, I mean he can beat a defense. Like I said, I am concerned with with his catch radius. Like if he does drop some balls here and there, but I mean he knows it feels like he knows the offense. So like I'm sure Brady can draw him up something that he would like, and he would but he would probably want to come back too to try to win that Super Bowl for the Bills too. So yeah, he's a guy that I would maybe think about bringing in if none of these other guys don't cut it. So like a guy like Elijah Moore or if they don't trust Shavers, like Gabe, he's a proven vet. So I would maybe try to give it a shot if he's willing to take a team friendly contract with a team.
Yeah, see, I don't think Gabe Davis would get an insane amount of money. Maybe he gets $2 million. I don't see him getting much more.
With the injury, he had the injury too. So yeah, that's
right. He is still rehabbing at the same time too, so he's not going to be ready week 1.
Right.
I know he's out there running routes and everything like that, but he's not going to be ready. So, and then Gabe Davis does fit this Bills culture if everybody eats. You know what I mean? His tenure with Buffalo, he was the wide receiver 3 at one point when the Bills had Emmanuel Sanders and Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
And the following year, he moved up to wide receiver 2. But then the back half of, his final year in 2023, he played the role of wide receiver 3, which he was behind Khalil Shakir, who emerged as wide receiver 1. And then Stephon Diggs dropped back to wide receiver 2. And then you got Gabe Davis, and then you had Isaiah McKenzie and stuff like that.
Right.
So overall, I think Gabe Davis is a low risk, high reward signing. You know what the base floor, what you're going to get out of Gabe Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're yet to see his ceiling. Yes, I'm a big Gabe Davis fan, but at the same time, I just not keeping my bias aside for Gabe Davis, I think this will be a good signing.
I do have another question for you, Pat. Like a thought about this. I don't know if you saw the reports today out of Indy that Alec Pierce could be on the trade block, and I know he's one of the better deep threats in the game. Like, do you think that's something the Bills would maybe push to try to upgrade that third, fourth receiver spot with a guy like Alec Pierce?
Yeah, see, Alec Pierce is a very good wide receiver. Yes, he is that deep threat and everything like that. But when you look at Alec Pierce compared to what we already have on the roster, we have a Khalil Shakir, which I know Shakir more of a slot guy. You have Coleman, who's a deep threat. You have Josh Palmer, who's a route tech, which I kind of put Alec Pierce in the same category as that, but obviously the better deep threat. And then you have Elijah Moore. We'll see how he pans out. I'm hoping he's going to do good things. I mean, like
Me too.
I said,
I hope he can pan
he's
out.
been open through all preseason where you get to see him with the starters. And every time he's in the starting offense, we hear about it on Twitter. You know, it's, Elijah Moore had a good practice. Elijah Moore had a good practice. Elijah Moore had a good.
I want to see live game action with Josh Allen to see how good he is in this offense with Josh Allen. That's what we need to see.
Exactly. So I think Elijah Moore's a lock on the roster. Now, would you rather have a guy like Alec Pierce or a Tyrell Shavers? Give me Alec Pierce.
Right.
I think Tyrell Shavers is going to be good and all, but if you can make it, and it's all about making your roster better, right? At the end of the day. And I think Alec Pierce definitely would do that.
Yeah,
but
with Alec
Pierce,
have to trade Samuel, he's a proven vet, so that's why you would go with the proven vet over like a guy like Shavers. But you could hopefully stash Shavers on the practice squad.
Right.
So.
I don't think Shavers will make the practice squad, though. That's the thing. I think you can sneak a Wilkerson on the practice squad.
Yeah, now with these teams that are needing receivers, I think, it could be a chance that he gets poached by somebody.
Right. But to answer your question, though, I would love to see an Alec Pierce on this team, but you would have to trade a Curtis Samuel.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's what you would
have.
Yeah.
Then you battle it out for a Gabe Davis somehow. So let's just go through that very quick. You'd have Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Elijah Moore. You would have Alec Pierce at 5. Those would, Curtis Samuel. But if you trade Curtis Samuel and get Alec Pierce, that's your 5.
Yep.
I think the Bills carry 6 this year. So I say Gabe Davis.
Okay.
Then Tyrell Shavers can make it 7.
I don't know if they're going to keep 7. I think 6 would be the max.
Right. I don't think the Bills have ever carried 7 receivers in the Sean McDermott tenure. I know, it teeters around 5 and 6. I think that's your number, Tommy. It has to be 6.
I think so too. I think you're right.
Now, do you think obviously, do you agree with this? If we don't trade for Alec Pierce, it would be a Khalil Shakir, wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2 would be Josh Palmer.
Yep.
Keon Coleman.
Yep.
Then you got your Elijah Moores, Curtis Samuels, Tyrell Shavers, as it currently stands. Are those your 6 receivers?
They right now, yes, but with the possibility of them trading Curtis Samuel, you could add a guy like Alec Pierce or Gabe Davis onto this roster. So like, there's still that chance they could, like I said, get rid of Curtis Samuel. But if they don't, I see it like you have it.
Well, then you also get Gabe Davis's versatility in the special teams game.
Yeah, true.
Which his coaching staff loves.
Yeah. I think there's something there with them checking out the medical. I think there's something there that they might want that reunion because, like, to go to the medical stuff, it tells me that they're very interested in trying to retain Gabe Davis.
I agree too. Usually, I know I was talking to somebody. They said maybe the Bills are just trying to help out Gabe Davis by bringing him in for an interview. For that way, Pittsburgh will just get the deal done and help him out. I know Josh Allen said he's really. But the thing that I found really weird was Josh Allen said he continues to talk to Gabe Davis every day. He doesn't think they've gone a day without talking. He said that in his interview on Tuesday. I think Josh wants Gabe Davis.
I think so too.
That's me.
It sounds to me like he does want him because he has, a good connection with him.
Right. So with that being said, we did touch on Tommy Sake's audible ruling, and we did cover around the NFL with Gabe Davis, which I do think is weird that he's left Pittsburgh twice now without a contract.
Yeah. Sounds to me like either the Steelers didn't offer him enough money or Gabe Davis just told him no.
Yeah, I think it's in between, or maybe the Steelers are even hesitant on bringing him in due to his knee.
Right, that's true too.
So, with that being said, let's preview the Bills-Bucs game. Tommy, what are you looking for in this game? And it did come out today that Josh Allen will not play. For the rest of the starters, we will see how this week of practice goes.
For this week against the Bucs, I'm looking for like a totally different game from the Bears. I'm looking for these guys' last chance to prove that they belong in the NFL. I'm looking for I'm looking for some fight. I want these guys to, make plays on both sides of the ball. Especially like Mike White and if Mike White, or I guess Mike White will play, but and Trubisky, if they're fighting out for that number 2 quarter, I want to see them compete, make the throws, at least score some points too, right, Pat?
You have to, at least a field goal.
Yeah, at least a field goal. And I think Tyler Bass will be good to kick after they released Caden Davis from the roster. So I'm looking forward to see how he does with the field goals too. Bass, he was under a lot of pressure the last couple of years with making crucial kicks, and I want to see him make these kicks. On the defensive side, Buffalo Joe, I want to see see some action there. Like he needs to be in the right spots and play as hard as he can play, because for being your last preseason game to impress, to make this final roster. And then guys like Hamlin and Bishop, I mean, this would be Bishop's. I think they said he's going to start in this game, so he needs to come out, prove to everybody that he is one of the starting safeties on this Buffalo Bills defense. And I'm looking again at Frank Gore, and hopefully he can get that momentum back. And maybe this week will be the week he gets that touchdown that we all want to see him get that touchdown. So I'm looking at Frank Gore there, and 2 guys I'm keeping an eye on are Wilkerson and Forrest. I need to see them go out, prove themselves, especially Forrest if he wants to try to get a roster spot or hop onto the practice squad. But I think they signed him to try to make this 53-man roster. And then with Wilkerson, it's going to be tough for him to make the roster, but if he could go out there, make some unbelievable catches like he did in that first week against the Giants, I think there might be a slim shot that he can make it if the numbers are right.
You hit the nail on the head with everything you just said. I do think maybe you see a little bit of Elijah Moore. I know I talked to Matt about this. How much of Elijah Moore are we going to see? Mm-hmm. And if he does only play, a drive or 2, that's very telling that he's going to make the roster.
Right.
So that's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing is guys that are on the cusp. How long do they play? Guys like Tyrell Shavers, they don't play, they don't play a good amount. That's pretty telling that they're going to make the roster.
Right.
And I do agree with Julie. I know I had the comment already up here, but let's pull it back up.
Okay.
Julie wants to see the spark.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
Spark.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy, you hit the nail on the head when you said you want to see a whole different game plan. You want to see a different, you want to see a lot of physicality come out, and this is your last chance.
Yeah.
This could be some guys' last chance putting on an NFL helmet. Right. Go out there and make it count.
Make a name for yourself. Make a name for yourself out there.
Exactly. And I know Chris Tabor was saying that if they can't get a job here, we want to get them a job somewhere else. And the players need to have the same mentality from last week. They did not have it. This week they got to have it.
Right.
So that's another thing that I'm looking forward to seeing. And the players that I'm looking forward to seeing, Tommy, are guys like KJ Hamler. He's a guy who has been on the bubble making the roster the last 2 years now.
Yep.
Had a nice play against the Giants, and then obviously he had a catch and 2 against the Bears. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who he's not going to be a wide receiver option. He could fit that Isaiah McKenzie role, but as we already talked about earlier, with the whole wide receiver room, there's not really room for him. So looking at a guy like KJ Hamler, his best spot to make this roster, his best route to make this roster is from the kick return spot, which if you give that to KJ Hamler, is that Laviska Shenault? Is that Brandon Condrington?
I think it's between Condrington. I think it's between Condrington and Shenault right now. I think they want it to be Condrington, but we'll see where that goes. I think it's like a mixture with those 3 guys.
I agree, and I think Condrington I thought Laviska Shenault has been the better kick returner so far in the preseason. Yep. And then Julie said it right here. They need to play like their jobs depend on it, because it does. Yeah. It does. Their jobs do depend on it.
100%, Julie.
This could be some of the guys last time putting on an NFL helmet. Make a name for yourself and go play for your job. Because like Julie said, like I said, like you said, it does matter. So then outside of that, just get out of the game healthy if the starters do play. Maybe if you get – and I want to continue to see guys like Deion Walker perform and continue to, excel. Because, each week he's getting better and better, and I want to see more of that from TJ Sanders as well.
Yep.
And then the other guy I'm looking forward to seeing, I know you touched on Christian Wilkerson, so I'm going to switch mine up. I'm looking at Dorian Strong. Knock on wood. If Tre'Davious White is out for a good amount of time, or if he's out week 1, which hopefully he's not. Hopefully it's just a road ankle. He'll be back.
Hopefully, yeah.
Dorian Strong, you are the next man up in my book. And I know I said I'd rather see Dane Jackson, But who knows? It might be you.
Mhm.
And if it's Dorian Strong, just take this game like a regular season game. Like it's your first regular season game. You got some, you got 2 games under your belt now. Obviously, you didn't play the whole game,
Mhm.
but continue to learn and learn fast. And as we've seen it already with guys like Christian Benford, they have stepped up to the plate. If anybody can help Dwayne Strong in this, it is Christian Benford.
Yep.
And you have guys in the locker room already like Tre'Davious White, who was arguably a top 5 corner in his prime. And that I trust Sean McDermott and this coaching staff to do what they got to do with Dorian Strong.
Definitely.
So with that being said, Tommy, how long do you think the guys on the Cubs play? Like a Elijah Moore, like a Tyrell Shavers?
It's a tricky question, but I mean, if they're trying to, I feel like if they're going to be out there with Trubisky, it'd probably be maybe less than a half, maybe a quarter, and maybe some change. Or like you said, if Mike White's out there, then it might be maybe less than a couple possessions.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you see guys like Elijah Moore and Tyrell Shavers. They don't play much because their job's already locked up. I really don't think you see those guys play a lot, and I also don't think you see guys like the rookies. No, I think the rookies will play a good amount, but guys like Dorian Williams won't play that much as well.
Yeah,
and maybe a guy like Joe Andreessen doesn't play that much as well either.
Right.
So, Tommy, I know it's hard, but score prediction.
Okay. This is going to be tough because, like I said, I know Josh Allen isn't playing. We don't know what starters are playing or how many backups.
Right.
But I'm like I said, I'm always gonna go to Bills here, so I'm gonna say the score prediction would be something like hopefully I'm gonna say we're gonna score 21 points. I'm gonna say like 21-14 Bills.
Ooh, I like that because I was gonna go 21-13 Bills.
Okay, yeah.
So we're right in
Bills. So you're gonna say 21-13?
Yes.
All right, let's lock it in. Lock it in, Pat.
Let's lock it in. So,
all right.
There you have it from us. And then, Tommy, at this time, I'm going to let you tell everybody where they can find all of us on social media.
Yes, we are on a lot of media sites, so y'all can find us at Dude Champions on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Kick, TikTok,
Facebook,
and then
Spotify, any podcast,
Music.
Red Circle.
Yep. All your good media network sources. So everyone, give us a follow, like and subscribe our page on YouTube, and go Bills, Pat.
Yeah, go Bills. And again, make sure you check out the Buffalo Combat Zone every Monday. Make sure you check out the Coast to Coast podcast every Wednesday. Check out mine and Tommy every Thursday at our new time, 6:00 Eastern, 5:00 Central. Yes. And make sure you check out Chasing Data every Friday. Make sure you check out the 30 Manageable podcast every Saturday. And myself, as I am continuing to play Madden and trying to win a Super Bowl every Saturday as well. And Tommy, there's nobody else I'd rather do this with, man. So I really want to appreciate you hopping on with me again.
Appreciate you, man. No other partner I'd rather do this with besides you, Pat. That's it.
I appreciate that. And
yes,
Julie,
sir.
I want to say thank you to you for always coming in and showing love to the network.
The comments tonight.
And I want to say thanks to all 113 people in here right now and who are watching on the replay.
We really appreciate it.
Yes. And I just want to say stay healthy and try and attempt to win a game Sunday before it matters.
Sure. All right,
so with that being said, I think it's good to be seen.
Good to be seen. Go Bills. Let's paint.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.